Kenny's usually on Mirage. I don't see a reason for them to not be on Mirage.
I want to say they were on Nume back when Nume was on top.
Oh, it could have been Nume, yes.
Yeah, they played in Was that a Karlsruhe or was the online one?
I believe this is going to be either Levia or...
Yeah, there's
Lilith
the Cerberus X, so...
Gazi's really good here if it's against like a blue deck. All right, time to flip the Tama, and it's the Buka. Looks like it's Mirage. Mirage with the fish package, because that's, I think, the main deck that uses this card. And immediately the Veemon for the jamming, followed by that training into, I think here we take the... I mean, we don't know the context of the hand, but I think generally like they do go for the delay into the delay.
Howdy, fellas.
It's Mirage versus Levia. We're back in BT15. So this matchup is really weird because Levia needs to find Gazi in some capacity, but even then, like, a single Gazi is not enough. And because of their, draw and trash nature, they can trigger the Mirage very early on. They might have to give up some Digivolving value. And I think as for the Levia deck, we're just going to see Biting Crush being played out. I think that is telegraphing that they're looking to play out Octo, like evolving to Octo on the next turn to make the token and trigger the Leviamon.
Historically, the adage was that like Leviamon could struggle against matchups where you were able to make a level 7 OTK stack. It did not really want to play through some of those interactions. I don't necessarily think that's as true these days, and maybe the fish adaptation towards Mirage, where like you're playing things into sources, you're picking them up with Hwankunmon, like they pose a little bit of additional risk than you would previously expose yourself to. But it would be interesting to see. Mirage adds off the search, not bad for turn 2. Yeah, like Marcio said, like setting up the Leviamon early is huge because that Biting Crush just isn't going to get a ton of the value unless the Mirage spends multiple turns sat there. But if Candy can sit there and posture for an OTK off this position, then like you're pretty much guaranteed to not get value out of your card.
Go for the boost. Finds the Dober and
Dober X.
So yeah, so Levia as a deck, I think it's a little bit more solved. Like I think the deck has genuinely like one flex slot, and that is whether you want to play the third copy of the EX7 Leviamon, or you want to play like the fourth training / boost. But for the most part, like Levia is kind of solved, which is actually quite good. I don't mind a deck being solved because like it goes to show like how good like the deck is. Like it's so good that you don't need to like innovate, and like there's no reason for you to change anything if it just works. Now we're going to see here that the Mirage player is going to have to raise, right? And I think because of the Biting Crush that was set earlier, if Kenny promotes and tries to sit on something like a MirageGaogamon to tax like the draw one from the Tsunomon, or like anything that draw one and trashes one, that exposes them to the Octomon playing out the token.
Yep.
So if they have the Hwankunmon, then that will play out another body, which will then mean that the Octo token will get played to Roroi's side. So that's effectively like the way that I think they want to navigate this, is having 3 bodies out so that the Octo doesn't play a token to their side, so it doesn't trigger the Biting Crush, and they're happy to just control the pace of the game.
You ever think we see something like Otamamon or Gaomon to just sit here? Because obviously Hwankun dropping the second body.
Otama, yeah, there you go.
Otama helps a little bit, and just with regards to like making sure that there's no like, I don't think there's a ton of like massively reducing play cost drops in this archetype at the moment. The splash death X here. I think what's making a personal meta read.
I think what's more important is that you're not committing a 5 that could get popped.
Yeah, that is true.
And also, I mean, Hwankun would trigger the Biting Crush that's in play right now, because like the Biting Crush is live.
Of course.
That's why I was wondering about hard playing versus.
Yeah, so I think doing it this way, because the Gazimon, like in theory, is a foil to this deck. It like turns off the 2 delays that we've got in the back, but
Acid Trash at level 3 here.
Yeah, as the only rookie, they kind of can't stay on it. It's just one of those things that as well, if the Gazi stayed, by putting out 2 level 3s, either of them can turn into the Gaogamon that bounces a level 3. So it's kind of like a fragile line. Like in an ideal world, you'd have the Gazi push up a second one for good measure, and then you'd actually be making a stack on something else. But that's not kind of really the reality we live in right now. But Levia kind of has to just accept that this floodgate was never really a factor on the board.
So to memory here. It means that we can evolve into Cerbex. It is Cerbex, and we will be able to get that memory off of the Dober ESS, and we do have a level 3 in the trash to play out. We're going to training. This will effectively be like a 0-cost Evo because you're going to get that memory back. Draw 1, trash 1. What are we trashing usually? It's something like
a Levia X, ideally here.
Yeah, Levia X, 7th Lightning. It depends whether or not they have the Octo. But the Octo here doesn't really work super favorably. They need a way to sort of trigger one of their cheetah cards because, like, Candy having 3 bodies out on board with 2 delays is kind of rough. We're gonna trash a Proto. I think trashing Proto is fine because it's a card that you don't want to have in rotation too much, since if it gets checked
once
in
you
security,
see the first one, it's coming back. Yeah.
Yeah, and because it adds itself to your hand, you know, you can give Mirage more unnecessary like swings.
Yep.
We could see maybe like evolving into. We could have protoed into like into another Dober, into potentially like putting a Levy X in trash. Into, say, for example, like a Dragomon, and then triggering the Biting Crush and the Levia X. That would have been a way to full clear the board. But that is
calling a bluff here. The Zudomon Ace would be disastrous for Roy right now. But...
Ooh, I mean, we do get the Proto, so we get to Proto and we get to get the Dober X. So if we have like Proto Drago here, it's actually pretty good. So yeah, Proto into Dober X. This is like the craziest thing that this deck gets to do, because
just do this over and over again for 1 memory.
Yeah, for 0 memory, because the Gobbly gets you the memory back.
Yep.
So has to think about the pitch. Pitch is the Levia X. I mean, that's
all right. We're all set up now.
So now he just needs to find like Drago, get a memory off. Yep. Now Dragomon. Dragomon solidifies like a really good position here.
Still no low-level Digimon for your opponent to be played, right? Because it's Mirage off the check, and then the other card in discard is a training, I believe.
Oh, that could also be true. It might be a case of like we don't really have anything. I mean, this also works.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with setting up your board more. I will say this though, in terms of what I understand of the Leviamon value line, you've set up a lot of resources to make a board that didn't build a crocodile. So
you can
trainings, no boosts still lying around. It can get pretty dicey.
Because the Gazimon ended up in, because the stack died, the Gazimon being now available as a trash source.
Very, very good. It stops the boost as well.
Yeah, it's actually just like straight up optimal line.
Sorry, it stops both boosts.
Yeah, exactly. This means that, and they can't training. They have no training, so if they evolve to bounce the Gazi, turn passes.
Very nice.
Yeah, so we are going to see the bounce. Wait, no, we've got the inherit off the Gal, so we can keep turn.
And then we can now go double boost 5 into Mirage, clear the Dober, and like reset the game that way.
Yeah, they do need to obviously clear the body first. Is Biting Crush when a Digimon is played, or is it Digimon and Tamer?
Digimon only.
Digimon. Yeah,
Okay.
the only one that interacts with Chambers is Leviamon specifically from his trash effect.
Yeah, so Huang Kun can now optionally play out a body.
You do it.
But I don't think we're going to. I think we're just going to go into the Mirage and then bounce level 5. Oh,
that's the wrong card.
Yeah,
good save.
Don't think too much about that.
There we go.
The Protoform will trigger again. That's the top 2 cards out of security as Protoforms. Gobbly return to hand. Just, again, like, it's the rookie you'd want in Raising Us. This next rebuild begins. But it's beginning to get a little spooky. There were a lot of cards cycled into Rory's hand here. So
yeah, I'm not a huge, like, obviously, you know, they did the best they could. Never mind, they have kept turn. I was going to say, if they don't keep turn, I'd be kind of worried about getting, like, 7th or as just second biting.
The thing here, I would say, is, like, it's tough from 6. Sorry, 6 security is tough for Mirage to OTK. 7 feels like a ridiculous task.
I feel like 6 isn't that bad, though, if you're going to,
it's like double proto, right? So
yeah, it's
double
proto.
Top 2 are proto. This is the thing, is, like, I'm not 100% sure I love the giving one back right now.
Yeah,
like,
I would have liked to see a
Thomas would come next turn where, like, you could check it and then have that trigger Mirage's memory gain. But, like, one of the restrictions to doing this is that, like, giving your opponent 2 means that they can't, like, just straight away drop the rookie. So they can't go rookie into protoform setup. But like, if your opponent is allotted the chance to just sort of go Goblimon in the back and then boost training or training boost, then like they're gonna do that. And this turn sort of isn't active and threatening enough for your opponent to like make them make their decision differently. Although again, I reiterate, a Dragomon on play doesn't solve this problem. There's still no little guys in the Mirage player's trash. It's a tough meta call to read here. Or sorry, it's a tough matchup call to read. It's like your opponents kind of have to both play a game of like they don't have it like that, and in those scenarios, it's a tough guess. Marcy had mentioned before about the Octomon. Octomon coming down for themselves is not going to solve the problem. Gazi, Gazi for 3, make it happen. All right, now we get to Mirage's happy place.
The thing is, like, because we've seen 3 of the level 4 Gaogamons that like bounce rookies. If they don't have a way to, well, we know that they have the burst mode, so like,
yeah, the burst mode's coming down after a tamer, but like the problem is they can't afford the tamer.
I just wonder if is there a world where you
just burst mode.
Yeah, you just burst mode like
Evo.
Yeah,
I mean, keep turning that way, but also staying at level 7 is pretty good.
Zudo is another way.
Yeah, it solves the problem.
Yeah, that I'm less of a fan of. You're now finally giving a means of being able to fight back. Never mind, inherits.
Yeah.
Yep,
yeah, they're keeping turn by a mile.
Yeah,
and
never
then
mind.
Mirage trigger. But like the thing is, like if they drop Thomas here, this is what? If it's Memset or Thomas, I believe this is.
Ah, they're
4
using
damage.
They're
It's
using
not
dice. Candy's using dice to keep track of their opponent's hand instead of just like looking at it. That's fair. Not everyone is kind enough to put their cards down in piles of 4.
I was wondering what that was. Thank you. I mean, kid named Thomas H. Norstein, or are we going to go into a second Mirage, pick up the proto format of security first?
The thing is, like, they have to swing out burst mode to avoid like losing to like any security bombs.
Yeah, you only know what the first one is, but also like if you're going to get a free, swing off of it, there's no reason not to.
We know that this is a proto form anyway, so the Otama is happy to swing here.
Yeah, I guess that implies that they actually I hate this. Oh, yeah, I guess they're gonna pick up the Otama, right?
Yes. So they get their value now, but you know, is that necessarily better than doing it as burst mode? We're not really
security bomb,
sure.
no security bomb.
Okay, yeah, so
we didn't get punished.
Game.
All right, Thomas H. Norstein now represents pretty much lethal.
I mean, even without it, right? Like just straight Evo represents lethal.
Yes.
Because straight Evo, you gain back enough to just get it, and then you can just Thomas after. 5 on the dot, gain 3, which is a Thomas.
No, it's swing, unsuspend, hand rip. So this is basically going to be 2. The kicker here is that like by having this number, he also plays around Zudomon Ace's death in an over. So it would take away lethal, but it wouldn't take away turn.
No.
Yeah.
But considering that it's a hard evoed Mirage, it means that it's not going to
sticking around.
Yeah, it means that like the Gobbly is free to gain its memory, the Pseudo is free to.
This is only dying to something like Rivals Barrage.
Yeah, which
I don't think is super common in Levia because you already have so many good bombs. Like unless you are exactly
training's big for the Leviamon.
You know what?
Yeah, that solves the problem. That's the missing damage.
I'm a big fan of everyone refusing to interact with security today.
Me too.
Card was added to hand, so they get to loop, swing and suspend here.
Again, this technically still doesn't play around biting, ending Mirage's life.
Nope, now it's actually a lot worse, yeah. And 7th Lightning. But it's a double Gobbly.
Double Gobbly insecurity.
Last check, this has to be it. And
triple Gobbly insecurity. Good lord.
Yeah, where are my Goblin Slayer fans at?
Goblin Slayer.
Yeah, that's about as good as it can go. And the fact that they got no free unsuspends off of the double protoform and security, they were just still able to like perfectly navigate that was really, really well played.
I think now with the context of the hand that at one point Roy had in sense of they had the Levia and Levia X in rotation at some point. I think the way to go about it is like the Biting Crush as a deterrent to stop the Huang Kun is really good. But I think you can arguably do the same thing by just having Levia X in the trash and developing your Leviamon like as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And just kind of sitting on Leviamon and making your opponent like commit to the burst mode.
It looked for a moment like the Leviamon hitting trash came much earlier than having Leviamon X. So I think there might have been an overlap where they were
Yes.
like, I'm going to take what I can get.
But it's more the fact that like they had the ability to like draw one, pitch one, and at least like they would have eventually landed on like Levia X in trash. And I think that, like I said, like that is also another way to stop the Huankun. You don't need exactly the Biting Crush, and like having a level 6 means that like again you only open yourself up to a Mirage, and if you can have like a Gazi alongside like your Levia, that's pretty strong. But this matchup is not super favorable. I think it's like on paper it's like 50-50, but really it's like 60.
70. I don't think I've seen Levia beat Mirage in a regional setting.
It can happen, like if they're on the fish base now, it means that they're typically.
Yeah, there's extra risk if you're a fish base.
Yeah, like I get like that it definitely could.
Yeah.
I just think like mostly because we tend to see them later in the day. I think
Of course.
I have never seen it like just by the numbers.
Blocker plays a big role. Like if you force them to go into the unblockable Mac as opposed to like the Huankun, that can also somewhat help because that's like one less check that they get from like sucking something up to unsuspend.
Yeah,
there's like ways about it, but you're definitely right. Like it's mostly like a Mirage.
Although I guess if you sequence it correctly, you could the unblockable one still can just like unsuspend if you get the swing in.
Yes.
So your damage just comes at a different point, but I guess you're like it's another check that you're closer to getting biting crushed and
boost off the top. I mean we did find the rookie, so.
Or they're just
bot decking two Gaugas.
Two of the strong 4 you need for this matchup is rough.
It's not great.
Do you need?
We saw them win without it, right?
Yeah. Do you need it in this matchup?
Oh, like this time we have the jamming.
Yeah, the jamming inherit does come up because it gives you an extra line where like if you don't find your fish 3, but like finding the fish 3 is going to come up regardless.
So Gobbly, Dober. This is pretty good. It means that like you can Dober X and use the Gobbly as a battery plus the training here. This is like pretty perfect.
Whoa!
You cannot take any of them. Oh, he's on the regular X antibody, which is really interesting.
That means he's definitely on Drago.
Yeah, you play Drago no matter what. I think regular X antibody makes Drago lines a bit more flexible.
Yeah.
I personally have tried like all 4 protos, and I think like 4 protos is just like more consistent across the board. Like the healing like comes up a lot. Like Leviamon is and we see the Gabu X as well. We do get to pick up 2 pieces, the Lop X.
Man, he's just getting jammed on these searches, though.
He bot decked 2 regular Levias, and I mean, he did discard a Levia X, which is fine. As long as there's a way to, like, Drago, Octo, those are, like, the things that he's looking for.
Well, I'd say he's getting jammed on the search. I feel like both of them kind of got griefed on their searches. I guess it didn't matter because the 2 gaogamons that got bot decked, immediately a third one has shown up. So the jamming inherit is live. Obviously, it just means that very unlikely we're actually going to see that when Digivolving print any extra memory. And interestingly, we're not seeing like the Lunamon in the Mirage because I feel like the Lunamon is something that's kind of made its way out of just the Galaxy Toolbox version.
Yeah.
It's a good card.
Very, very deeply messed up card.
So, from this position, right, he can potentially go like Dober X, gain a memory, maybe Proto into it. He needs to find a way to like get rid of this Galmon in some capacity. I don't think it's like by having it in the trash just opens up like future plays. But I mean, swinging the Gabu is also very good here because if he checks like a Digimon. Which this is not.
You never check a Digimon. That's so lucky.
So now this is a lot worse. But I understand like the mentality of like wanting to swing your rookie because like, well, one, you need to play to end the game, but opening yourself up to a training is just like not great. And now we're like in a bit of a pickle. Like, I think Roroi has to bank on the fact that the opponent's only 5 is the Huankun. And we're just going to go into the Cervex here. I mean, we do get to keep turn.
I like the Cervex a lot here.
We can also go for Octo.
Huge.
Like if we have Octo in hand, we can trigger the Levia X, and that's a level 6 for free.
Yeah, because he keeps turning off this Leviamon.
Yep, and then
Leviamon played off of the Octo over Gabumon.
He needs to draw one off of the Tsuno, and then he draws one off of the. Oh, okay. Well,
we're missing the trigger. I don't know. We seem okay.
7 in hand. Oh yeah, discarding off of the Lop is actually pretty good. Like if you can loop that to keep your hand low. Yeah. Mitigates like some of the effect. And we're just gonna evolve.
Where are we going?
just insert the regular Levia for 3, and then bite, take 1.
Okay, so
You know, I
puts the
don't dislike
2.
that much.
Yeah,
That's
it's not
too
bad. Like that's as low as you could try and realistically aim to pass. And because they had the boost anyway, the trading out of security doesn't matter in the long run because even if you pass them 1, they push out a 4 boost to 3, make the 5, make the mirage. So like in theory, they have it anyway. All this means is there's potential that they could maybe. I don't think they make the 7 in this situation. I think
especially important as well is that we finally for Rororoy have a level 3 blue Digimon in the trash that you can just start using again.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So
The other thing is, again, like this is sort of like a soul read, right? This is effectively saying you need to show me something that is not the Huan-kun, because if you go into Huan-kun, you probably like you can training and use certain like you basically don't get value off of it, right? Like your Bukemon is effectively like it's a vanilla Tama. It's not doing anything. And because of the Levia X, like 2 rookies out, it means that they also have to clear both rookies. Otherwise, like again, going to Octo, play out a token, evolving to Levia X, like you know, it's. I mean, they also have game on board, like 4 security, 1 unsuspend. The only punishes are something like
full moon or something like that.
Full moon
or Sorai
or burst mode. And we're gonna swing, and we're not even unblockable, unfortunately. Okay,
has to play for board. Yeah, so we're gonna.
I actually quite like that. I think that's pretty clever.
Boost, bounce the Lockmon.
Bounce the last remaining level 5 or lower.
It takes lethal off board, even if it doesn't take.
Yes, taking lethal is very good. And then they do
spend off the inherit. Very clean.
But now what?
Probably no burst mode is the thing, because we saw one of them get bot decks like turn 1, but they're moving the stack down, so maybe I'm about to be made a liar of.
The other thing is like burst mode doesn't even necessarily seriously solve this problem, because you'd basically just be putting the Leviamon in hand and like no egg in the back. Like you could just play Leviamon.
You could do. Or,
and like Protoform will give you your resources. Like this doesn't really solve the problem. It just kind of kicks the can down the road.
I mean, it puts your opponent on like better habit, right? It's like, okay, you now have a turn. Well,
that's the thing though. It's not even better habit, like Tom said.
Yeah, because we know Leviamon's at hand. The Protoform just moves the pieces where they need them. Unlike they go to egg first now.
No, how much does Levia cost to slam?
13.
13. The memory back actually mattered. So now you would have to jack raid.
So from this position, right, like because they're not like it wasn't a burst evolve. It was just like a regular evolve. They no longer are getting taxed by the Mirage. And the burst mode on paper, right? So if we look at the dice, we can see that Rororoy has something like 11 cards in hand.
About to be 12.
About to be 12. No, it will be the same because the trading goes like 1 for 1. So yeah, so the amount, so 2 memory is not enough to slam something like a
Thomas
or even the Gaomon that like makes both players draw 1 to trigger the unsuspend off the Mac, because you'd be able to go something like swing, burst mode, hand loop, slam down the rookie to make both players draw 1 to unsuspend, and you'd get like 3 swings in.
I think he would 2 memory would be enough if he has Gaomon, because the gaogamon underneath, is that the jamming one or is that the gain 1 memory?
I think that's just
Madoki. It might be the jamming one.
It's
Madoki something.
It's Madoki jamming and then Mac.
Jamming. Got it. Never mind then.
So swing,
you don't have the memory in here.
Hand looping here. You're probably looking to like hand loop like the Levia.
God, yeah, be a huge hit.
Like Levia plus Protoform are like probably the best cards to get rid of.
All right, 3 cards gone. We don't know what they got.
Checks a boost. That's pretty huge. I mean, it's only fair.
True.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
we're kind of running out of those now. I think that's 3 of them in the drop.
You have the regular.
Least 2, yeah.
You have the regular Cerberus Mon to just get it back, so it's not like the end of the world.
True. That's if they're on it though.
Usually they are.
Yeah, because you'd assume it's that 50 or 48 card pile, right?
The most like interesting thing about the Levia list is that they're on like the Gabu. Like the Gabu is like some people play, some people don't. Oh, that's
There's
the BT13 Gaogamon. A lot of people have cut that off their list the way to free play Thomas, but I still think that one's really good.
Which one is the?
If you don't have Thomas, play Thomas.
Oh, okay, it's just a free play one.
More modern, like Mirage lists opted to just cut it out completely. But I still think like a card has like a ton of value. Okay, from this position, like one memory and like a stack, you're kind of fine. Even if like
Well, there's a
even
boost
if-
in training though.
even if nothing else, evolving into Dober X and like because you have retail, you just you just swing and suicide.
Oh yeah, I hadn't even considered that.
That's another out.
But you are trading your whole stack, which feels
Yes.
kind of, especially because there's a rookie in the back. Card was added to hand, so now
Oh, that is true.
unsuspend. So no longer able to play for retail. You're gonna have to play some slightly more honest Digimon.
Wow, yeah, that is all turns.
Oh, going to the Drago, but we do not have a X antibody under it, so it looks like the X antibody got hand looped because otherwise you would have protoformed into the Dober X. But both
Big
players,
deal.
What a
also-
rip!
yeah, both players get to play out here. I think you just go for the Gazi. Yeah, Gazi is like so good, and even if you just evolve into Levia X,
yeah.
you're killing the 3 and the 7. So that's like really, really good. You could boost for it, right? Because it costs 6, so you'd pass your opponent 2. And you have a Gazia on board, which really opens you up to something like the
You can also just straight Levia here, can't you?
yeah, but whichever 6 you go into clears.
Yeah, there's the one from hand before.
Oh, this is like the best one, obviously, because it'll get 2
Put
memory
him
back.
to 1 now. Playing under a Gazi too. Looks like shades of curtains to me. And you can't even really like play it. I mean, the best course of action here is probably just like
We are on Drago, and
there's no
not,
one suspend.
we're
Training, put him back to 1.
So Levy can go for 2 checks here, right? And then put Kenny down to 2 security, and then maybe go for ruin mode.
I mean, the big
yeah.
thing here is the eternal risk with Leviamon is if this top security is Thomas H. Norstein, the damage clock gets accelerated massively. Because it goes from 2 checks to full cleared security.
Yeah.
We don't have Cerbex, we have a Drago.
No, but if it checks the first one, it'll be 3 checks to security, and then you can clear with Gazi.
I don't think you ever swing the Gazi though, right?
For 0.
I mean, you want to stop the opponent from like using that boost.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true. You say that, but like if you have ruin in hand,
Oh,
then
yes.
who gives a shit about what the Gazi
Yes,
has?
if you have ruin, then 100% you just shotgun it.
What a card ruin mode.
We've seen it like win a game so far.
1 beat Fenrir.
Yeah, definitely just be Fenrir.
Quietly the best card in the game.
You think?
I think it's close.
Oh, we're
Ooh.
protoforming. So we're digging for something.
Could be that we're trying to play for lethal, honestly.
They were moving the memory around, so I'm assuming, yeah, they're trying to get the Goblin and
Oh, this is
memory
actually
back.
really good. Getting the Lopex in trash means that like now when they go into Cerberus, they can play out the Lop, and now the Leviamon does not die to like anything in security. That's not an option.
Did they?
Holy moly, we're committing fully.
I think it makes sense, like because you're on Cerberus, you can. There's like a ton of things that you can do here. Like you're gonna get a good amount of memory back from playing things out by effect. And it means that if you evolve into Octo, you just evolve into Octo, play out the token, and then
Get 2 Levia X's.
you get 2 Levia X's.
Mirage also doesn't tend to play like
There
the
we go.
-2 mem and goobers.
Evolving to Octo, play out the token, you get both procs, and also you basically just like kind of win here.
Yeah, it's
Now I don't know which stack got the power off of the Lop. I would imagine-
Presumably the Levia, because the
yeah,
Levia
the
X
previously
can't,
played Levy.
this can't swing, can it? Because it was played this turn.
No, it was the Gazimon.
It was the Gazimon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he committed the Gazimon.
Oh right, yeah, 'cause it was just a training pass kind of turn. It was one of those quick ones.
Piercing 2 checks for the Drago Inherit.
Oh, swinging into the Drago, yeah.
Yeah,
So he
he
gets the
swung
extra
over
memory
this.
and gets the discard. That's actually not bad.
2 checks. First check, don't be Thomas. Training, big.
Hexalot does not matter.
So if it's Thomas' second check, you don't get it in time, do you?
No, I think you do.
You'd get your check. You'd evolve immediately.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
Security.
Sheesh.
Wowee, that was a big line from Roy there.
Game
A lot
3.
of power protoform in that little clip.
Yep. King of New York in the back. So they're on both floodgates. Fair enough. Makes sense. I mean, you could say the same about blue as well.
Yeah.
On both floodgates.
Both floodgates and trainings. These are this is the grape and blueberry flavor of the same deck.
I'm kind of interested to see like the
What Fanta do you like?
Otamamon versus Siako. We've seen Madoki, we've seen Otama, but we haven't seen Siako yet. I'm wondering if it's like, does Mirage traditionally struggle into Demon Lords?
Demon Lords, it can be kind of annoying. I think like you adding cards to their hand means that they get to their win con a bit quicker. And between like the Lucamon and like Shoto giving you blocker and like constant like removal.
Demon Lords has
constantly
the
looping
advantage
Rude mode as well.
Yeah, Demon Lords has the advantage that unlike the Royal Knights, where they do largely as a Mega Zoo deck need to resolve their low level Royal Knight first. The lowest level 7th grade Demon Lord is level 5, who is immune to being bounced. So there are a lot more effects that giving them gas can really hurt Mirage against.
Okay.
We see here, nice pile shuffle from both players.
Regular Lucamon not considered a Demon Lord. Is he just an angel?
Oh yeah, he's just an angel. Little man.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. It does feel kind of weird that like obviously blue has access to like basically every floodgate and not seeing the full suite of them. I guess they're just willing to put up with trainings existing in 90% of decks in order to make 7 Demon Lords miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Red will be the color with the most floodgates next set, right? It's Shamamon, Gatsumon, Gaussmon, Solarmon, and then the only thing it's missing of existing floodgate rookies is essentially a Kokabu.
Yeah. But
sorry, not a Kokabu.
Kokua.
Kokua, thank you.
Yeah,
however,
I don't think anyone's gonna get Kokua though. That seems like a black floodgate kind of thing.
However, which red decks actually get to flex these
Lightfang Nightclaw. That's about it.
That's about it. And that's barely a red deck.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, early Madoki I really like. It stops a lot of like, you know, the power level of the dark animal like bottom end of like the Gobbly and the Dober X. It means that you're more likely be forced to evolve in the back. That's the other thing about like Leviamon is that they don't really have a great way to remove floodgates outside of like committing to their 6. And this is just a bot deck 4.
Yeah,
that is why it does get cut from
the
lists.
order here.
Interesting training to the bottom.
I typically do training to the bottom.
Yeah, you want to find that ruin mode as fast as possible.
Are you a training to the top type of guy?
I tend to stack my stack it so like my training in theory would find.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I tend to put my training like so it would double hit.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's clever.
Yeah, it just makes sense.
I was told one time, this is when I was a wee lad, a Magic the Gathering kid, which is that like if effects send things to the bottom of the deck of your own choice, you should be doing it so that the last card you draw in the turn will then be followed, or sorry, the last card you use in the turn will be followed by a top deck for a good starter. So ruin mode to the top, followed by training would have been the line.
Early Zudo. Okay, so what is a telegraph? That Candy does not have a level 4, because otherwise they would have evolved in the back. And that if Roy doesn't deal with the Zudomon, that it could just be Mirage next turn, right? It could just be like evolving to Mirage and then you're playing under Mirage and Madoki. So you get to evolve here to draw one, trash one, and then draw another one. So
at the very least, there's no Digimon to play out.
There's no Digimon to play out. So the line here is something like Proto into the level 5 and then just evolving to the 6. Just evolving to like Levia, clear both.
Yeah, that's if you have it. If not,
or you might crush.
I love the crush here. I love crush here. It doesn't get you the, again, like we're still going back to the problem of no 3s and 4s in the drop, but like it does finally move the needle on like when you, because a scenario where that's not in play and Juan Kunmon comes out and gets aggressive early will be bad.
The fact that we're seeing no motion here implies that we are
I think we're just playing on. Oh yeah, there we go. I think the game is effectively over. Like, can you not having level 4 just slamming after slam? You know, like I mean, if Roy discarded a Levia for effectively like nothing, all they need is something like a drag. Oh no, Drago still doesn't do it.
Yeah, nothing in the trash to raise. It has to be Protoform Serb.
Oh no, I mean, we don't get to add anything back here, but just evolving into Levia X. Oh, this is actually
I guess
pretty
this
good.
solves the problem of not having Protoform.
Yeah, and you do get to play a Gabumon from
Yeah.
trash, so we're gonna get.
Yeah, this solves the problem.
It means that we're more likely to get the exact card that we need, which is Levia X.
Whoa, Labra jump scare.
Yeah,
Labra's crazy good.
Labra cool, but obviously, yeah, with nothing else to find right now.
For what's worth, like a lot of the early Levia lists were not on the Gabu X, and I opted to play like the second Labra. But what the
Ooh, I think that's a miss.
No,
there was no X antibody there.
That was a Cerbex, was there not?
Is that Cerbex? Oh,
Yeah.
pardon me.
Yeah, Cerbex.
For a second, I thought that was 16 Cerber.
And like it basically comes down to like what is the difference between why are we discarding that?
Pitching it now.
Why are we discarding? Why are we not just evolving it? That is a question. Because we are still okay, so maybe Drago comes out here. Right, draw one, trash one. Still can't get any memory, but like doesn't largely matter if we have Drago.
Drago's not playing anything, right? Like that's the problem. Drago, you can't play out a level if
oh, that is true.
Level. So again, like the problem of yep, he's just realized he's done it wrong. That's so unfortunate.
Surely you just make...
I love that. That happens sometimes. You're in the middle of a long match, like you tunnel vision a little too hard on a line.
You kind of forget that the reason we're in this situation is because...
That's why I was like, we just have to evolve into Levia X. And that's the thing about like Leviamon is like people want to do like the most high octane like lines of play, but sometimes you just have to keep it simple. Like your goal should be to just clear and put yourself in a good position without losing too many resources.
I mean Levia still
just Evo to Levia is good enough here, surely. Oh dear, a swing. This is a tamer or a tamer could save you, right? Because then you get to evolve into Levia and drop.
Yeah, that's sort of like the out.
Hankun.
One Kun goes to trash. Still not a 3 or 4. Does kill the That's such a big hit for Roroy.
That is just a
That's such an unfortunate blunder there.
All he had to do, not to bash too hard on the play, right? Because like Leviamon is
tough
a deck
scenario.
Leviamon is a deck with like many lines of play.
Ooh, full moon.
That is actually not bad.
That's not too bad. The protoform resolves now, right?
Yeah. That is not bad.
Yeah, so it's first. So it's when it would leave.
So you get to add the rookie.
Oh, wait. Actually, this is terrible.
Squad dog.
This is terrible. He just went +2 to hand.
Oh, maybe. Now, this game was like all he had to do, right? Again, Leviamon, purple deck, draw one, trash one, lots of lines of plays, but could have kept it simple, evolving to Levia X, just clear the 3 and the 5, you'd get a ton of value. The opponent was in a really bad spot. And now you're playing your game extending.
Yeah, we're about to see how serious it gets based on the promote or not promote of this Veemon.
1 level 4? I mean, can he also...
I don't think you need a level 4. Like, you did hard drop a 5. So.
Yeah. Hard drop a 5.
And because there's no 4 on board now,
We'll see if there's a punish, right?
Yeah, and there's no Hankun either. Do we still even have a Dragomonable thing in trash
There's
yet?
still no target in there.
Ain't no way we're swinging a 5. I mean, wait. We know.
Yeah.
Now we'll get the situational unspend because there's enough cards in hand. I quite like this.
But the problem
is that's 10, right? So that should be enough to keep turn.
Yeah, it keeps turn. The problem is that you do not have jamming. So you swing into a big crocodile and you lose your stack.
Well, we know where 2 of them are. We know one's in hand, one's in drop. We know a Levia X is in drop, and we know we saw one Leviamon get bought, right?
Playing safe. I quite like that.
Yeah, we've seen what happens when you don't play safe. But, I mean, he makes... It's still 3 Digimon. The thing that is kind of awkward is...
Is there anything that's being able to be played out from the trash?
No, there are still no 3s and 4s.
Yeah, still no 3s and 4s.
The big difference here is now is that like the previously the Dobermon in Raising represented something different, but now like we know that the Dober X's in hand would normally be the start, but like Mirage floodgates this.
Yeah, because even if you protoform into Serb X here,
The cycle will still get you.
yeah, you'll still lose turn.
Oh, this is so unfortunate for both of these players. You hate to see a game 3 in a really exciting match go this way, where like an unfortunate oversight into a brick. Like, they stabilized their boards interestingly.
I have more sympathy for one player than the other, because for one player is okay, I'm doing the best that I can with the tools that are being given to me. The other player was, I blundered.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, the misplay is frustrating, but also it's like there are components. But I'm an entertainer, Marcio. I like to think of the viewing audience here.
Sure,
it's like
sure.
This was a really hype set, and like when people watch this later on the internet, hi YouTube, it will be much more exciting for people to be like, wow, this was a really exciting way for this to wrap up. I like the 7th Lightning. I think it's pretty good. We've only seen the one Mirage revealed off of training, I believe.
So
like
for
all things accounted for, we don't know if Candy has another one.
Oh wait, no, there's no overflow because that was the previous stack.
Yeah, the
Sorry, that was a crush. What am I talking about?
Yeah, the
crush pitch
was sort of like the out that I was envisioning in my head. It was like, okay, you Binding Crush, you pass 6, and then what does that look like? If they have a level 4 Evo, that's really bad.
This Madoki is like Hall of Fame.
Looks like it's just a Huan Kun and
still no 4. Jeez.
You know what? Actually, this is peak cinema.
Okay.
We have truly game extended beyond game extension. But now I think you die,
Happy
right?
to raise, right?
Yeah, like.
Yeah, this looks like it could be Curtains gang.
And swinging, putting that protoform back in hand was just like not the right thing to do.
Because I genuinely don't know. I feel like this is more frustrating for Candy because it's like you've bricked out of your mind. You're like, okay, there's absolutely no way that I win this. And then your opponent blunders to the moon. You're like, oh, maybe there's a chance. And your deck is just still not cooperating.
Right. So we're right here. He needs to probably play out the Gabu to try get that Levia X. And then like Levia X can clear. Oh, it looks like it's going for Gobbly.
Yeah, it doesn't super matter what you do here.
Yeah, that solves the problem.
You're only going to gain back 1 because the Madoki is going to stop the memory from the... Oh, they've done that incorrectly.
No, I think it resolves because like you delete both and then it checks after the cards are no longer on the field.
Oh, I see. So it's not one.
It's not separated by...
I think they're double checking it with the judge because they've just brought them back. I think they just want to confirm what the timing is because in my head...
It's like because of the full stop?
In my head, yeah, it's pop 1, gain 1, pop 1, gain 1.
Okay.
But, I mean, they've run it back, so I don't know if a judge has dropped. I've finally made it so judges don't ruin my thing. There is a judge here, yeah, so I think the judge has ruled that it is pop, pop, resolve.
And look at this boost. Top 4 finally gets to level 4, right? Finally gets to level 4. But I don't think it really matters here. Like, this Leviamon is applying so much pressure because we now have the Cerberus. So we have to do...
Yeah, there are a lot of cards in hand. A Full Moon Meteor Impact can claw out, but I don't think we have another one in hand.
No, and we don't. We don't have one in hand, and I don't think we'll have another one in security. Mirage, like typically they play like 1 to 2.
Maybe 1, yeah.
And we already have one, unless it's like double Full Moon. I mean, also for what's worth, the Full Moon Meteor Impact, it was better that it was checked early than late, right?
Absolutely agree. I mean, we wouldn't be playing this game if it wasn't checked when it was. Like, it was the exact moment it needed it.
Right, so we're at 2 memory, and can we potentially, like, evolve into Octo? I think, like, Octo is, like, the easiest way out.
Yeah, Octo ends the game on the spot.
Unless you check Burst Mode.
True, I mean, the Lopmon is in trash, so I think that's why we're looking at maybe going Lopmon.
But we can finally gain all this memory after all this time. Okay, we're discarding Levia X. Big fan of discarding Levia X, huh? I mean, yeah, I get it. You can evolve.
Yeah.
It evolves for 0, Marcio.
Yeah, but sometimes you want to keep it in hand.
Why pay 2 when you can pay 0?
That is true. That is true.
0 is a really little number. Wow, that is one of the least mathematically correct statements I've ever made in my life.
Okay, we're finally going to see the Drago come out, as we do have regular X antibody. Or he's just putting vaccines in his dog.
Nah, it is.
Yeah, okay, there it is.
Give your dog a rabies shot, chat.
So he'll get a memory here off the Dober. I mean, whether Kanye wants to sit through the movie or not, I don't think it.
Hey, if there's a full moon once, it could happen again.
The other thing that's like even more problematic is the fact that like with this many cards left in deck for Roy, there's 100% a ruin mode in hand. And by triggering one of the Biting Crushes, like even if something was to happen to both stacks, right? Like say something really unfortunate happens to both stacks, you just like trigger the Biting Crush, clear whatever, and then go into ruin mode, and you also just pretty much like win.
Can you choose the order in which you do this?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you're getting more memory from it. So
yeah, you get 4 memory back.
Why did we only gain 2?
I don't know. I don't think he realized that he has 2 Levias on board. Plays out the Lop.
Yeah,
Gain and then...
Yeah, okay. We're gaining other memory things. They just have not recognized that there are indeed 2 tax wolves.
2 tax crocs. Croc attacks.
Crocodile. More like crocodile done deal here, gentlemen, as we move on to security check o'clock.
Yeah, and then gain the memory as well from doing that, and then we can now happily swing, pop the Lop. We gain the DP, so we're again only lose to an option. 3 checks.
Show me the money.
Nope. Nope.
Full moon meteor
nope.
impact doesn't even matter at this point, and then swing for gain.
All right.
It is doable for Levia. You just have to like be less unfortunate than your opponent.
Yeah, your
true.
opponent is to never see Gaogamon.
You do draw 1 trash more than your opponent.
Yeah.
I mean, props to Candy. Like they played to every single out.
Yeah. And you could argue no Tame is out of security is pretty unfortunate to kind of fight their way back in, but like they also got to a point where there were no Tame is out of security when it would have been actively detrimental.
Andy get a Thomas H. Norstein in the last 2 of these games?
And in the last, I don't think I've seen a
Thomas
the
full best of 3 that was Tamerless.
Wow.
Could that be the future for Mirage? Well, no, because they
well,
played
I didn't win, so I don't think so.
Also, they played the BT13 Galga that plays the Thomas for free, so you wouldn't play that.
Yeah, you'd have assumed, right?
Yeah.
Unless it's the craziest bait of all time.
Oh my god, can you imagine? Maybe it's for the 1 KDP.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're playing for the dig.
So that way they can play out of ruin mode or something.
Maybe.
Last.
Maybe.